Thank y'all for coming today. We're grateful for the presence of WIS and WLTX in the state for this very important day, the first official meeting of the South Carolina Childhood Obesity Taskforce. My name is Scott Holtstrom, and I'm the General Counsel and Director of Legislative Affairs at the South Carolina Medical Association. And I want to introduce a few people that are here to speak today to the media. First of all, I want to introduce Dr. Vince Degenhart. He is an anesthesiologist who serves on the South Carolina Medical Association Board of Trustees. He really is the impetus behind this task force starting. And as a result of his leadership and guidance, he has started this task force with many goals and many ideas for the future of childhood obesity in South Carolina. I want to introduce Dr. Degenhart right now.
Thank you, Scott. Today we had our first meeting, as Scott said, of our Childhood Obesity Task Force. And this idea came to me about 18 months ago. We had a board retreat meeting in Charleston, and Robbie Kerr, former head of HHS, spoke, and what he said that day was, to me, stuck and was somewhat alarming as to the rapid rise in childhood obesity and obesity in general in our state. Today, there's 67% of South Carolinians are either overweight or obese. We're the 8th, I might say, fattest state in the country. That's somewhere we don't want to be in the top 10. We'd rather be in the bottom 10. Well, we can do something about it, and we have been doing something about it. And actually, there was a recent article that shows that the rise in childhood obesity and obesity in general is slowing, but it hasn't stopped. And where we are plateauing, though, is at such a rate that it's somewhat unsustainable. In that, in the United States, by the year 2030, we'll have 165 million Americans who are obese. Half of the men in the United States will be obese. The cost in this state is astronomical. Billions of dollars are spent in healthcare dollars, extra healthcare dollars, just to take care of people who are obese. And what do we mean by that? Well, people are overweight, have a BMI, which is a body mass index, greater than 25, obese greater than 30. That's just a simple measurement of height and weight. We can all do that, and the measurement itself isn't important, but the health care and the health problems related to it are. There have been some wonderful things done and are being done right now throughout the state, especially in Charleston, Greenville, and in Columbia. But we've got to get it statewide. And Dr. Janice Key at MUSC, head of adolescent medicine, has been very involved in this, and she has developed what's called the Lean Team in Charleston, in the Charleston County Schools. And I'd like her to speak to that. Dr. Key?
Well, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Degenhart. I'd like to thank the South Carolina Medical Association for starting this task force. It's just wonderful. It's a sign that we doctors in South Carolina are not just interested in treating disease and illness. We're interested in health and having all of our citizens, adults and children, become healthier. In Charleston, we're really focused on working with the health of children, improving their health through working with families in the community, and most especially the schools, through promoting healthier living and more physical activity. And we have seen that teachers and students who are overweight and unhealthy weights are able to lose weight by simply changing their eating habits and their physical activity habits. Would you like me to answer questions?
What came of the meeting this morning? Obviously, we know diet and exercise can change your body weight. So was this morning just assessing what South Carolina, where we are, or was there any kind of forward motion, if you will, in looking at what we can actually do?
Go ahead.
Well, this morning was a really exciting meeting because we brought together leaders from the State Department of Education, HHS, Medicaid, South Carolina Medical Association, USC, South Carolina Eat Smart Move More, which is our statewide obesity task force. We brought together leaders from our communities, Greenville, Columbia, Charleston, to really brainstorm on the statistics, the problems at hand, but also how to work together This is such a complex problem that we doctors can't write a prescription and solve the problem. We have to work with public health efforts, with our communities, our schools, our state government, to lead us towards healthier lifestyle changes.
What's the next step?
Well, as Dr. Key said, we've tried to pull together some pretty influential people from around the state to help us with this, because doctors can't do it alone. It's been shown that if doctors at least talk to a patient about it, they're 3 times as likely to do something about their weight and their health and their fitness. But there are a lot of experts, better than I certainly, Dr. Key and others. Patricia Moore-Pastides, the First Lady at USC, been a lifetime advocate of health and fitness, written a cookbook. She advocates wellness, and she's on our task force. I'm very, very glad to have her. Brad Edwards, former USC All-American and NFL star, and played in the Super Bowl, President, Athletic Director, and Vice President at Newberry College, another lifetime advocate of health and wellness and eating properly, is also on our task force. Each person had something to bring. Like the NFL has a program that helps in certain schools, and they've been involved in at least one school in South Carolina. But multiple schools have programs, and Dr. Key, in her talk and her remarks today, she showed that schools that have a committee that deals with this are far more successful in reducing childhood obesity. And in fact, that if we get the teachers involved, and getting the teachers involved first is a key element, and those schools that did that even had a greater success rate. So it's a multifactorial thing. We've got to get industry involved, in that we need to have healthier choices, healthier lunches. We need to have vending machines that, if we have them, that are healthier than what we have now. A lot of schools, some schools are already doing this, and some in Beaufort, what we heard from today. We have several of our board members here, and that was another reason that we wanted to have this with our members of our board, because we represent every district in the state, and we can take this back to our districts, and we can't do it ourselves. We need, every physician who's treating children and adults. You can't just treat children, you've got to treat the family to be involved and to take this message back home. But the AMA has gotten on board, and they've got a program, I think it's called healthworks.org, where they have a packet of materials that they'll give to physicians, families, that we can distribute to help the physician deal with this problem, because it is a difficult problem. It's a sensitive issue to talk to children or adults about their weight, about exercise, but it's a necessary thing. It's Dr. Key, in a talk that she gave last year, said we're the first generation now that will be seeing, we will have a lower life expectancy than our parents. And that's maybe not my generation, but the generations behind me. And primarily due to obesity. So it is an epidemic worldwide. We're not the most heavy or fattest country in the world, but we're a leader in the United States in this. So there's a lot that can be done, there's a lot that is being done, but there's so much more we need to do. And this was our first organizational meeting, and we're going to come back in 6 months. We're going to get a lot of ideas on what we need to do, not just talk about it, but do something about it. And pool those resources in the places that, like Charleston and Greenville and other places, that Eat Smart, Move More South Carolina is a fabulous organization working with the state. It's a nonprofit group, and I think there are 15 chapters in the state, basically dealing with childhood obesity and already helping in the schools. And so we need to pool those resources, especially for those counties and areas that don't have the wherewithal or the people, the manpower that we have in our metropolitan areas. So, any other questions? Maybe Mr. Edwards or Dr. Pastides would like to speak because they know a lot about this too.
Well, I think, I think we're all trying to do what we can to combat the issue. One of the main things we have going at the university now is Columbia's Cooking, which is a program where we teach healthy methods of cooking to the public. In fact, I'll be teaching there tonight, Healthy Mediterranean. But we teach lots of different styles of cooking, and the idea is not a cooking demonstration like you see on television, but rather a cooking class where members of the community come and get their hands in it and actually just, make the food and realize that they can do it. It's not too difficult for them. And then we know that if they like the taste, then they will go home and cook like that at home. So part of it is, not just knowing what's healthful and what's not, but knowing how to prepare fresh fruits and vegetables, which is, really what's missing from our diet today. So I think a lot of us on the committee have different programs going on in our own communities. And the idea now is to look at the big picture and try to see what can we do policy-wise, perhaps, that will help move us forward faster. Thank you.
Brad, you want to say?
Yeah, I'll just dovetail with.
Come up here where you can. You can. Sorry.
I'll just dovetail with the comments that have been said by certainly Ms. Pastides and Vince and others that, in my view and others in the circles with which I operate in and run in, we do see childhood obesity as one of the major issues facing not only our state but our young people and in our region. And so, in my view and in that of others, I think it is a critical issue, it is a critical area, but it is one that I do believe rather passionately that it is an area that we can make a difference in. It will take some cultural change, a large buy-in across our state and others, and that's really the sort of the coalition that I think Dr. Degenhardt and the board here in the association has brought together. A unique and very talented group of people from a number of walks of life. So we feel very strongly about it from a collegiate perspective, from an athletic perspective certainly, but more so what it means to our children, my children, and our next generation of servant leaders and throughout our state.